Hollywood has a mouse problem. I'm hoping they call him pest control, but let's talk about it. Right, so the problem I'm referring to is obviously the Disney problem. But Hollywood doesn't have a Disney problem. Yes, it does have a Disney problem. Was it always a problem? No. But when you consider that 80% of the box office hits in 2019 were produced by Disney, that's when it starts to become a problem. Because not all of these movies were good. Let's be honest. Let's be honest for a second. Not all of these movies were good, and a lot of them were just remakes, just CGI or real-time remakes of stuff that we love as the original anyway. There was no need to do it. I personally have no problem with any business in the world going out there and making your money. My problem is, Disney makes enough money that they don't need to screw anyone over in the process, and we are getting some serious news popping up in the past few weeks that makes me say, hey, Disney, stop messing with our movies and stop messing with these directors and creatives' hearts, because it's really unfair. Let's think about it. Rise of the Skywalker. Lots of reports saying that the cut that came out was heavily tampered with since the director left it. How does that work out? How does a director finish what he wants to do with a movie and then you change it for the better? It's never for the better though, is it? It's for your rules and regulations that you have decided on. You are the people that decide on this thing, you know? We find out that today, Doctor Strange, currently, creative differences between the writer and director in Disney yet again means that he's going to step down. Doesn't make sense to me. And even worse, LIzzie McGuire, the remake, the comeback, the thing we've all been waiting for, is currently on hiatus because they can't decide what they're doing creatively as well. Disney wants to look at the show with a new lens. My biggest problem is that this lens that they're looking through, it doesn't represent what life is currently at. We are at one of the most embracing, despite all the wars and stuff, moving forward in media and so on and so forth. This is the time that I've seen some of the most open themes and suggestions and sexuality and things that I've ever seen on television in the whole of my almost 30 years of being alive. We are not scared anymore. Conversations are happening earlier and earlier. You are not just a kids corporation anymore. The second you get hold of all of these franchises, like everything that you own from Fox, that's a mature title, right? What are you going to do about Deadpool? What are you going to do about Aliens moving forward? Well, how are you going to tackle these things in a way that doesn't upset the majority of the watchers? And guess what? The majority of the people watching these things are not kids. Kids are getting dragged along to it. Sure, when a Spider-Man movie comes out, or one of the popular superheroes comes out, like, you know, Black Panther or something like that now, sure, they're going to want to go and see it. But overall, they don't care about the storyline or the way that you put this across. They don't even care about the blood and guts a lot of the time. Hey, by the time I was like, 10, Dragon Ball Z was pretty much just embedded in me. Plus, I watched so much karate movies, Terminator and things like that growing up with my dad anyway, like hard 18s and 15s. Hey, even if you stay up a little bit too late on like Channel 5, you're going to see a porno when I was growing up, right? Kids are not that easily offended. Kids are massively mature at this point as well. They're growing up faster and faster because of the internet and stuff. And I'm not saying that we should be overexposing them to anything. I'm just saying you should be able to create a dynamic that kids can enjoy it and adults enjoy it. And you have. That's the thing that I think is most annoying. You've done it a fair few times in recent times. The Last Jedi is quite a mature movie. I wouldn't say that's directly a kid's movie. Infinity War and Endgame, despite being packaged up with all of the, like, you know, fun tropes of a superhero movie and stuff, that movie is deep as hell. Half of population across everywhere just got wiped out. That's a massive theme to put across to kids to try and understand. But you can't have two people of the same sex kissing prominently in your movies because it might upset someone. Come on, man. It's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. And then, let's think about it for a second. Disney, you're not just a little corporation that you've got to worry about things. You have so much outlets for these kids if you want to produce content solely just for those kids. And I'm not saying you just have to make every movie in 18 so kids can't see them and adults only see them and stuff. But I'm saying if you look at something like Blade, right? If you're going to tackle someone like Blade, I want it to be an 18. Because I, as someone old enough to watch that movie, don't want it watered down. And a kid doesn't give a fuck about Blade because he's not part of the major franchise. The only reason that you're so worried about these is because you've taken all of these properties that back in the day didn't mind. X-Men cartoon, very, Yo, X-Men cartoon would talk about civil rights and all of these crazy things, all of these things that the comics still put across to kids and have no problem doing, but you, for some reason, when you get a hold of these things, want to filter them. And I can't understand it because, like I said, you have so much outlets for the children now that you don't need to do this. You can make a movie that makes everyone happy, and you don't need to keep putting your foot down and kicking out directors left, right, and center because they're not making something that doesn't match the Disney image. Guess what? Disney suck. You lost it way back in the 2000s when you couldn't make a good movie. You aren't Disney anymore. You're the Disney Corporation. You've got to make bigger and better things that incorporate what you are. You aren't making those sing-along movies anymore. You're making action movies. You're making movies with mature themes and stuff. So you need to represent that in the way you do it. Like I said, right? You have what? Theme parks. You have cartoons. You have mobile games. You have video games. You have merchandise that applies way more to children anyway. Stuff like going back to school kits, so you get your pencil case and your backpack and so on and so forth. All of this stuff, right, will be cheaply priced. It will be accessible. It will be stuff that Marvel gets made over in some other country, and it's not even the good stuff. The stuff that then gets marketed to the adults that are still doing this, right? You go on a website, a hoodie's like 50, 60 quid, mate. An action figure itself, look, I even bought this out, yeah? This dude, right, he was on sale, yeah? He was 15 quid on sale, right? Do you know how much this would have been years ago? It would have been smaller, and it would have cost me like 7 quid. Whatever. Doesn't fucking matter, right? The point is, the people buying half this shit are adults. Even when it's kids getting it, it's an adult buying it. So you know that, and you keep using that as your excuse to max profit everything, but then you don't want to give back, and you want to act upset when people say we don't like your movie because you keep ruining the franchises that we are invested in. You can build brand new franchises for children, and you do that all of the time. But think about this. Think about this. Yeah? The guy that goes and watches Rise of the Skywalker 5 times over, he's not a kid. He's a grown man with no fucking life and a lot of money. Those are the pockets that you want to tap up. So start respecting those people a lot more. And start respecting the directors that you hire to do a job for you. You paid them for their creative vision. The reason that Endgame made all of the money that it did is because you tapped into, not you, but generally the people working for you, Marvel, tapped into the fact that television at the moment is kicking Hollywood's arse, whether you like it or not, yeah? Episodic stuff, things that you can invest in, stories that move forward, that is how storytelling is done. One-shot movies that go nowhere and then get a sequel when they didn't even need a sequel and stuff. That sort of filmmaking died out heavily. That's why a lot of your sequels or your remakes aren't doing as well as they should be, because really, you should be moving these forwards in a way that doesn't just say, oh look, we remade the same thing you love as a kid. Because we don't love that, and the kids don't love it either. Because guess what? If I loved it as a kid, as a parent, what's the first thing I'm going to show my kid when I have one? The original version of Lion King. And yeah, sure, it's cool that you've got this completely great remake, but why are you wasting someone like Jon Favreau on that when you can have him making stuff like Mando, which again, is way more mature, yet doesn't have to be an 18 or anything, and still, the merchandising is going to be there because you have something like Baby Yoda in it. The Last Jedi, you had the Porgs and all these other things that the kids latch onto and stuff. Please stop ruining what creativity and freedom of expression is when you control the entirety, 80% of the market. It means you've got to represent for 80% of that market. It means you've got to be diverse enough that you can do it all across the board. And we don't need these things like the forced diversity and so on and so forth. We don't need forced sexuality. We need it to be natural and not out of place. We need it so when you do something like you stand all of the women up, all of the female superheroes, it doesn't seem like this one shot, oh look, we're giving you your praise, women. We're doing it in a way that is respectful. Because that's what it is. You just aren't respecting all of these fans that you want to take the money from, and sure, they're gonna go buy it and so on and so forth, but already I'm feeling a massive shift in recent times of people being like, Disney are really kind of taking the piss and this isn't okay. Sure, we'll go watch them, but guess what, we'll pirate them. People will go out and pirate them. You get to a point, yeah, where people want to stop giving you money, you know, and the knock-on effect of this, like the massive knock-on effect of this, is how you see someone like Warner Brothers then fail with 4 or 5 different movies, or another place wants to open up a franchise that nobody asked for. The reason they're invested in the Marvel franchise is because they stuck true to the source material as their references. I'm not saying they did it line for line, but they stuck true to what people know about these characters and stuff, and created good enough movies, or great, there's not really that much bad ones, that it was watchable and everyone enjoyed it. But now everyone's scrambling to just do what Disney done because they think that worked or that worked. But when they put faith in their people, like I said, something like Joker is a great piece of an original vision. He may not be the Joker that a lot of people wanted or so on and so forth, but people love that movie because what it done was serve a vision and a story to start to finish. A lot of what Disney are doing are just saying, hey, you remember Luke Skywalker, or you remember this guy or that guy or whatever, fuck you. And you can't tell me like Disney don't even invest in themselves properly, because when The Rise of Skywalker came out, you knew that to get on board with the kids you needed to go through Fortnite. You weren't going through your own Battlefront franchise, which is, you know, Star Wars itself. You weren't doing the promo for your movie in there. No, you were doing it in Fortnite because you wanted to reach the kids. You know that these kids are in a completely different place to the people that are actually being the fan base, and you know, the ones having the discussions, the ones buying all of the merchandise and all of that kind of stuff, is people like me and you, the people that are having these conversations, the people that are getting annoyed enough to speak up about it online. The kids couldn't give a fuck, mate. Like I said, what do they care about an action figure or whatever when they can have it all in their phone and they can collect every single character? And if they don't have a character, they can click a button and buy more and buy more and buy more. Why, if that audience is already giving you money on a daily basis, do you need to rip off the people that would, if you did it good, if you do good jobs, mate, we will be in there like, this is my 10th watch of this movie and I can't believe it just keeps getting better. But when you do it in a way that aggravates your fan base, that's not great. That's not great for the future of Disney. And you are buying up as much properties as you can, but you're not letting us know where we stand as people. And hey, guess what? When you tell people fuck you, guess what they do? They say fuck you right back. It happens all the time. Do you need to do this? Like, just hire people and respect their vision, because that's how you've made some of your greatest movies ever. That's it. Mando is one of the best series I've watched in recent times of anything, and that's not just because I love Star Wars. It's just well put. Like, it's a story that even if I didn't love Star Wars, I think that would bring me into it quite heavily, and that's what you want to do. You want to have people that love these properties, these characters, these universes, making stuff that they love, because everyone else will love it. You're not only letting the directors down when you do these things, you're letting everyone else down as well. I'm sure I'm not the only one. My friend as well, heavy spoilers, go watch his video if you want to find out exactly what's going on with the Doctor Strange situation. But he's pretty mad. I spoke to him earlier and I'm pretty mad as well. Like, because this was going to be, Doctor Strange was going to be something more original. A horror take on the Marvel genre. That's something interesting. That makes you go, oh, okay. It's not just the same movie that we've seen, the same origin story or the same sequel story. It's something different. A lot of people hate Spider-Man 3, but if you've ever watched Donkey talk about why it's actually great, it's because it was one of the first superhero movies that tore down the hero correctly. We don't see too much change these days across Marvel movies. It's the same formula. So when you tell us you've got something exciting, like, you know, Edgar Wright working on Ant-Man, we're like, oh, this is going to be cool. Then you say, oh, no. Creative differences mean he's not going to be a part of it anymore. So that's it, man. Like, just be better, innit? Like, be better. You control the majority of this, and this is, you're going to see a lot more people speaking out against it, and a lot more people going to call you out on it just because, like, you can't fuck with stuff that we love. We will fight for what we die. I said I didn't like a TV show the other day, and I've been ripped in the comments ever. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine fighting for something so much? That's what you're up against, Disney. So stop doing it wrong. Yeah, stop doing it wrong. Stop just crushing creativity, because what's the point in that? No one wants to live like the worst thing is, yeah, you as a company inspired the imaginations of so many children across there, and now you're stamping out freedom and creativity left, right, and center. For what? Just to make sure it ticks a box. I said that Fridays would be more of a discussion, slightly longer videos, things that we can just talk about. That is what is on my mind today as I've seen it. Yeah, honestly, I've got nothing else left to say. You saw me. I feel bad for throwing Kylo Ren back there. I hope he's alright.